This video is all about family meetings. And when I first say that term, family meetings, you might say, that just doesn't sound like something that I want to be learning anything about. It doesn't sound too interesting. But actually, they can be very useful. So if you've watched some of my videos, you probably recognize that I talk a good bit about how important communication is within the family, and especially with kids. And family meetings are just another sort of communication tool, and they have their purpose. They have a place where they can slot in and solve problems that is really useful that other communication tools that we have just don't work the same way. And I'll explain in more detail. So what is a family meeting? Very self-explanatory. It's just a way that you can get down in a space where you can talk and communicate. I like it to be a place that's like where you watch TV. It might be a living room, family room, something like that. Place where you can sit. We don't want to have a family meeting where we have one person, getting ready to go out the door, another person's at the kitchen, another person's, another 10 feet away, and they're all kind of raising their voice at each other. That's not quite the idea. It's a relaxed situation where you can all sit down and you build kind of a conversational space where you can communicate a little bit together. It's not a big deal. It's not that tough. To call a family meeting, I just like to tell my kids, see where they're at, make sure they're kind of done with homework and no distractions going on. And I just say, hey guys, we're going to have a family meeting in 5 minutes in the living room. And then we all get together in that sort of way. Now, what do we use family meetings for? I use them for two separate purposes. The first purpose is resolving an issue. And the second one is good news. So these are very, very different purposes. One's kind of like, well, we have some work to do on something. We have something that needs to be talked about to resolve. And the other is, it's just good news. Something fun's going on, and we need to tell you guys about it. The reason I do it this way is because I don't want my kids to start thinking, every time I have a family meeting, uh-oh, what did I do wrong? And they start thinking about something they did 4 or 5 days ago that we don't know about. And they think that we have found out about, which we probably haven't. And that's why we're getting together. No, I want it to be sort of a more neutral thing where it could be something we have to work on, or it could be something positive that's good news for the whole family. What would be an example of an issue that you might have in your family that a family meeting would be good to help resolve? Well, say you have a family and two of the siblings, they're arguing a lot. They're just not getting along that well. It's causing stress for everybody. Nobody's having fun in that situation, believe me. And you've talked to them individually. You've talked to them together. Your partner's talked to them. But for some reason, the problem is going on. This is one thing that a family meeting can be helpful in resolving, because you can get everybody together in the same space, relaxed, and talking about whatever the issue is. And you have a higher probability of solving the actual problem when you do it this way. It's not going to solve every problem like magic. I'm certainly aware of that. But it does help you advance the needle just a little bit on some of these problems that we face with kids that are more of a challenge. And you might learn some interesting things along the way. One issue that we had in my family that we solved with a family meeting is something that's will probably sound pretty familiar to a lot of you that are watching. And that is, I missed the school bus today. Again, we had a situation where my kids were in high school, and they would run out the door, and 5 minutes later they come back in. We missed the school bus. Hey, Dad, we need a ride to school. And this was an ongoing problem. It happened once a week, sometimes twice a week, and we, both talked to the kids with the usual parent suggestions. Hey, guys, you have to get up earlier, or you have to brush your teeth quicker. You got to eat breakfast quicker. So, we had done all the usual directives, ordering them to change their behavior, which rarely work and didn't work in this situation. So nothing was changing. Time for a family meeting. I just poked my head in their bedrooms one night and I said, hey guys, we need to have a family meeting in 5 minutes. Meet me in the living room. And we all got together, my wife, myself, our kids. And here's how it started. I said, hey, you know what? We're having an issue with making the school bus in the morning. And I'm having to drive you to school 1 or 2 days a week sometimes. It's not making you guys happy. It's not making us happy. It's causing stress. How do we resolve this? And then I just leaned forward a little bit. Now, you might notice what I didn't do. I didn't give any directives. I didn't say, hey guys, we're having a family meeting because you're screwing up. You're not getting up on time and you're not making it to the bus. That's not going to go anywhere. That's just, just forget that approach. So what I'm doing is saying, we've got a problem as a family. We're going to solve it as a family. What's going on? And how do we solve this? I'm turning it over to them. And so a couple ideas were discussed. And my daughter had one that was quite interesting. She said, you know what? I could take my shower at night and then I wouldn't have to take it in the morning, and that would probably help me get ready faster. Wow, brilliant. My wife and I hadn't thought of that. That's a really good idea. And we talked about a few more things, and then my son said, another problem is that breakfast is just coming a little bit too late. If maybe mom could get up 10 minutes earlier so we could have breakfast just a little bit earlier, I think we could make the bus every day. Another great idea. I didn't know that was a problem. Wow. So they came up with two creative and pretty simple solutions, and actually what ended up happening is that within a week or so, the problem was solved. It went away. Every once in a while they would miss the bus, but it was very infrequent and it wasn't an issue. The basic problem had been solved. Now, it's great to solve a problem because it's causing stress and, things aren't working right. So that's wonderful. But there's another aspect to this that's great as well. And that is you're solving a problem as a family. The kids come away with a certain ownership of this whole thing. Like, hey, we helped solve this problem. We all got our heads together. Nobody got mad, no directives, and we figured out something, and it worked. So that's a good thing for a family when you can solve a problem, because let's face it, you're going to have problems of one sort or another, big or small, if you have a family. This was a pretty small one, thankfully. I'll give another example on the other side of the coin and how we used this for fun stuff. So my kids were young, I think they were in grade school. And every year in the summertime, we would go away to the beach and they would see their cousins and they would play together for like a week. It'd be vacation. And in this particular summer, we had not talked about this. My wife and I had a little secret. We had everything planned out. We had our bags packed and we were going to give them a surprise. They wouldn't know anything about it. So one Saturday morning, we're going to leave. One Saturday morning, I poke my head down the hall and I say, hey guys, having a family meeting in 5 minutes. They come out and they're a little curious, like, oh, hey, what's going on? Did I do something wrong? They're kind of still waking up a little bit. And I say, hey, guys, okay, so how would you like to get into the car in half an hour and we'll go to the beach and you can play with your cousins for a whole week? Well, it was just like complete pandemonium. They were just literally jumping up and down. We had to calm them down enough for them to pack their bags. And I don't think they got everything in their bags. But anyway, it was a lot of fun. So those are two examples where we used this in the family that, just great situations. Success stories, I'd call them. So might seem a little awkward at first, but try using these principles. I think you'll like it after you've done a couple of them. They don't happen very often, maybe a couple times a year. Maybe if you have a particularly challenging month, maybe twice in a month. They're not something you do every week. It's a special situation, and it's good that you don't do it that often because your children will say, oh, there's something important here. We have to pay attention to it. So that's the family meeting, and I hope you found these ideas to be useful.